Welcome to Discover Agentforce, what AI was meant to be. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Diane Mizota. Agentforce is officially GA today, which means you can get your hands on it right now. Now, this is a big day here at Salesforce headquarters, and we're so grateful that you're a part of it. So thank you to all of you all over the world for tuning in on Salesforce Plus for this special live launch event. Now, we're going to learn how humans with agents drive customer success together across any channel for every industry. And I'm joined by a team of Agentforce all-stars here to tell you everything you need to know to get started with this incredible new technology. What it is, why you need it, and how it's different. First up, Adam Evans, SVP of AI Platform at Salesforce. Now, Adam, you're the Agentforce MVP. You built this thing.
Takes a team, great tech, great talent. Thank you.
So happy you're here. And I know a lot of you are going to recognize the woman next to me, Trailblazer Dynamo, Leah McGowan-Hare, SVP of the Trailblazer community.
Yes.
So happy you're here, Leah.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, we've got a jam-packed show for you today. First up, meet Agentforce. Today is all about learning what agents are and what Agentforce can do for your business. We're going to take you through the Atlas Reasoning Engine, the brain of Agentforce. We've got two powerful live demos. First, see how Unity Environmental University plans to scale with Agentforce. And then you'll see how Salesforce uses Agentforce. You're also going to hear from our customer Adecco about their vision for Agentforce. And don't forget to stick around right after the event for our hands-on virtual workshop where you can build your own agent in less than an hour. Now, we also have an exciting announcement on our Agentblazer community. But before all that, we want to hear from you. So go ahead, put your questions, your comments in the chat on Salesforce Plus. Now, let's dive into Agentforce. Now, Adam, you're the perfect person to explain what agents are and why our customers need them. But I'm going to back up a little bit. How did we get to this moment right now in AI?
Well, Diane, this is a big moment. We are generally available with Agentforce. It's a big deal. However, the months that we've been working on this really started a decade ago. Salesforce is a pioneer in enterprise AI. Starting in 2016, we launched Einstein. This is part of the predictive wave. So using machine learning and deep learning to do just enormous scale predictions and help kind of scale teams. However, we've moved into a generative wave, and now today into an agentic wave. And this is leaps and bounds different. This is now allowing agents to actually do work. And this is about making it autonomous. And ultimately what that means is that you can scale your team. And this could not have come at a better time. Workforces are completely overwhelmed. There's always more things to do than there's time to do it. I think we can all kind of relate to that. And yet customer expectations just continue to grow. As a consumer, we want 24/7 self-service, being able to meet us where we are on the channel that we want, having patience and understanding and personalization throughout that. And really, because there's not enough time, sales teams might be missing opportunities. Customer service may not be taking every opportunity to delight customers and follow up. In fact, a recent survey we found is over 40% of the time that we spend in any given day is used on low value or repetitive work. And this is not how we should be spending our time. This is not how we can ultimately scale ourselves. And this is exactly what Agentforce and agents can do. This is what AI is meant to be.
Thank you so much for that insight and setting the stage with that context. But what is Agentforce?
So Agentforce is a lot of things. I think primarily it starts off with out-of-the-box agents, right? And so if you are saying, how do I get into AI, but I don't know where I'm going to find the returns on investment, the out-of-the-box agents such as sales and service and marketing and commerce are a way to immediately deploy Agentforce in a way that drives value to your business. But it doesn't just stop there with out-of-the-box agents. It's about connecting those agents into the rich kind of action layer that the platform provides. And so this is your Apex, your Flows, your MuleSoft, and your APIs. And then additionally, data. Data is a huge part of how AI works. So this is via data cloud, structured and unstructured data. And then what we have is what we call the Atlas Reasoning Engine, which we could talk about in more detail. But this brings it together so that you have the guardrails and policies about connecting the right data, those kinds of actions that you've got to ultimately solve customer issues and do it in a way that you can trust.
Adam, your team has been busy. I mean, you guys built this very fast. How did you build this with such speed?
We have been busy, absolutely proud of the team, but I will say that we've done it because we are building on top of years of investment with the platform. And so at the foundation of Agentforce is the platform. So this is starting with the metadata model, permission sharing model, getting into systems of record, the engagement you have, all of those actions I mentioned with flows and Apex and more. This is reusing all of the work that our customers have invested in for years on the Salesforce platform. And then moving up, you've got Data Cloud. So this is a core part of it. I mentioned having the right data go into your AI is paramount, and having the AI actually do the job well. And what job is it going to do? It's not just technology with actions and data. It needs to solve business problems. So this moves into kind of the customer 360 layer, where you can start having sales and service agent, marketing and commerce agents, agents that align to the line of business that actually help us do the work that we want. And of course, Salesforce brings all of the channels as well. So deploy these to your experience site, bring them into Slack, and much more.
Sounds exciting. So what are the out-of-the-box agents?
Great. So we've got a handful of agents. One, we have a service agent. So you can imagine, by the way, talk about great time. We're moving into the holidays. Huge demand spikes for customer service. So a service agent that you can roll out today that will help answer tier 1 inquiries from all of your customers 24/7 and be patient. It can be grounded on your product information and help them transact with actions. We have a sales agent that you can instead feed leads into. Think about the long tail of leads that you can't get around to, that extra work that we're overwhelmed with, where an agent can actually go do the research of these leads, take your sales plays, engage those prospects, have conversations with them, qualify them, and then if they're actually kind of interested in it, get handed over, which is a big part of this, is this human agent interaction. Hand them over as warm leads, even book meetings on account executives' calendars. We have a marketing agent coming in to do campaign design, end-to-end customer journey mapping, and more. And then in commerce, agents that help you build your website or create personalized promotions and much more. And by the way, I mean, I could keep going on about the agents, but I think the point here is that they are out of the box. However, they're built on the platform in a way that you can customize. So it's highly flexible, so you can have all kinds of variations of these agents. For example, in industries, you can have that sales, service, commerce, marketing kind of core agents, but then have the variations for healthcare, for retail, for manufacturing, insurance, financial services, and much more.
Okay, so I'm sure people watching might be thinking, well, what makes them different from bots or co-pilots that I'm already using on my website?
So let's start with bots. Bots and agents are in completely kind of different hemispheres. We've all, by the way, interacted with bots. They feel menu-driven and robotic, and you're kind of moving through maybe a conversational UI, if you think of it that way. And the reason they feel that way is that's how they're built. They're built with declarative logic. You can imagine dozens or even hundreds of if-then kind of statements to create conversations. Now this is very not only rigid, but it also takes a lot of time and energy to effectively program these things. Even though it's kind of clicks, not code, you're basically building every flow out. Now, agents are built with generative AI and based with large language models. So all these breakthroughs about having kind of the ability to reason, plan, and also the conversational kind of breakthroughs that we've seen with this make these agents much, much more relatable and not robotic. And comparing them to co-pilots, co-pilots are kind of this first wave where we think we really want to extend our productivity. So we have a co-pilot that may sit with us in context of a screen. It might be aware of what's on the screen, but a lot of the co-pilots about ask and response. So it's reacting to kind of what we want. We think about agents, it's all about being proactive. It's about being able to be autonomous and have a human in the loop when necessary, but ultimately be able to continue to do work in the background. And in order to do this, you have to invest heavily in things that we call guardrails and policies so that you can be sure that this agent is doing what your business policies want and kind of sticking to the script. Now, ultimately, by unlocking this, that's where you get the scale. That's where you can have your limitless workflow or workforce to be able to ultimately do more and free up time for those repetitive tasks that are low value. Agents can do that only when you kind of unlock them from co-pilot moving into agents.
Okay, so agents are autonomous, they can take action, and they can reason, but how do they do that?
Yes, so the Atlas reasoning engine is kind of at the core of it. Now you can imagine data and actions coming together, all right? So with data, you end up having, let's say, Data Cloud, through our Zero Copy Alliance, we've got data, all of your data lakes in one place for structured data and unstructured data. And we have techniques about getting that data into that reasoning engine that through field tests with our customers, they've told us are over twice as relevant and a third more accurate than other solutions available, including the DIY with best in class. And this is really important because if you don't have the right information, the right data going into an AI, it's going to take the wrong path. It's going to make the wrong decision. So having accurate and relevant data in is absolutely critical. Now you also need to be able to expose to that agent, or the reasoning engine, what it can do, meaning bring in the actions, bring in ultimately the flows and the apex and the APIs to let it connect to other systems and actually finish a job to help a customer. And that ultimately connecting data and actions is the beginning, but to do this in a way that's worthy of having trust and having it be autonomous with no human in the loop, you need guardrails. You need policy. You need effectively inside that reasoning engine a supervisor that's thinking about, it's reflecting on its thoughts, it's checking that it's making the policies, and it's doing it in a way that you can trust. And that is kind of the big unlock.
I mean, that is huge. You've done so much work on this, and I know our trailblazers out there are probably wondering, they love to make our pre-built solutions their own. So what does it look like for them when it comes to agents?
Yeah, so let's just kind of break down maybe an example of how to build an agent. So let's say that you had an agent that was on your website and wanted to have maybe a proactive conversation with a customer on your website. So you can imagine somebody coming in and saying, something around maybe they want to understand what the status of an order is. And how do you set up an agent to do this? What we call this is the planning phase of the Atlas reasoning engine. What we do is we've described it into what we call topics. This is effectively a way for you to say, here are the jobs to be done of this agent. And it's important to say what it can do, but also what it can't do. And as it's going through this, let's say the example of, where's my order? Maybe you have a topic around something like order management. And within that topic, you're going to have natural language of the instructions about how to use those actions. So you could think about it as, here's kind of the job to be done, here's the instructions on how to do that job, and then the actions that are accessible are what it uses to create a plan. This is a dynamic plan that once it does that, it can execute that plan. It can use those actions to go ultimately help that customer look up that order, do whatever it is that those policies and the guardrails allow it to do. And ultimately, it will respond to the customer. And you can do this on top of itself in a multi-turn conversation, kind of building up context. And look, what I'm describing here, what's one of the coolest parts about this is that it is in natural language. So if you are a trailblazer, we got you covered, all right? So this is, if you're pro code, you can go Apex, you can go deeper, there's a lot there. If you want to go more no code, to set this up is all natural language. So not only are agents highly accessible to customers and can speak their language and meet them where they are, but from a building and authoring perspective as a trailblazer, you can just type what you want. In fact, if you can explain it, Agentforce can do it. And this is this natural language ability. We're taking effectively the business policies and rules, what would have been those hundreds of if this, then that, and endless kind of clicking and dragging is in natural language. And that is one of the coolest things that I think is really going to unlock all of us here with Agentforce.
Wow, it is truly amazing innovation. Adam, thank you so much for that. Stick around for a bit. We're going to hear more from you in a second. But Leah, I'd love to hear you weigh in on this moment of where we are right now, the speed at which it's moving. What's your perspective?
Well, I mean, listening to Adam, first of all, Adam, kudos to you and the team for getting this out the door. Lots of hard work there. So impressive with the innovation. And I think Adam touched on one of the things that has always been in Salesforce's DNA, which is that no-code, low-code platform, which I want people to fully understand the power of that and what that does, is that allows us to democratize access to people to be builders. So you don't have to code. You don't have to be a prompt engineer. And I think it's so important, particularly in this AI phase, because it is so vast and it is moving so fast, and we want to ensure we're bringing everyone along. And I think part of that, having that no-code, low-code application and ability to build just brings everybody into the space. So it makes us true to our values. So I absolutely love that. I can't wait to see what our trailblazers are going to do with this innovation.
Yeah, and I imagine the natural language aspect is going to open the door even wider,
Absolutely,
so more people can work on it.
Yeah, I mean, when Adam was talking about the if-then statement, I started to shake because I was getting PTSD from like coding back then, if, then, else. So I was like, oh, natural language. Boy, if I had that back in my day.
Yeah, it's
so
super exciting. Well, now we'd like to hear more from you about like the customer experience and what they're finding with Agentforce.
That's a great question. So, as Adam mentioned, companies are definitely feeling the heat. Customers have high expectations. Businesses have limited resources. So how do you address these? Well, how do you balance all of this? That's where agents come in. Now, when it comes to agents, every enterprise wants to drive customer success, enhance sales productivity, and achieve higher margins. But implementation becomes the roadblock. So many companies feel tempted to build their own AI. But here's the thing. They're seeing only the tip of the iceberg there.
Okay, so what do you mean by that? Let's dig into that.
Okay, so let's double click into this. The question is, should you DIY your AI? Do it yourself? And the answer is no. And let me tell you why. There are hidden costs associated with that path. Now, public data that's feeding to AI, like ChatGPT, doesn't often address the business questions that many companies have. And that's why companies feel this need to build their own custom models. But custom models require ongoing training and costly data storage. It's not this one-time build it and it's done. Oh no, you have it for life. They must constantly adapt to changing business environments and technology. Now, many companies lack resources, governance, and security needed to protect their data and struggle to keep pace with this rapidly changing landscape. But there's good news, and that is businesses don't need to go out and fund their own models, retraining, and integrating capabilities with Agentforce. The biggest value of Agentforce is that you do not have to DIY. Now, Agentforce is the only platform that brings together humans, agents, data, and CRM. We believe that humans with agents drive customer success together. And it all starts, as you heard Adam mention, with data. Agentforce brings together all the data and context agents need from internal and external systems with the Einstein trust built-in layer. That is so important when you're dealing with AI, your trust layer. Now, this enables the agents to take accurate, relevant actions, and these actions are faster to implement due to our no-code, low-code framework. Now, here's the great thing, and this is me kind of personally speaking from having taught Apex and all those flows that I taught so many people, you can reuse all of those. You can reuse your flows, your Apex, and all the technologies that exist in your orgs that you've been building for years, because you can build your agents on top of that. Now, Agentforce connects to all the channels where your employees are, CRM, WhatsApp, Messenger, and your website. There's no need to go to any other application to talk to an agent. They're bringing value to your existing flow of work. That's so important. And we make it easy. We're pre-built certain agents, you heard Adam talk about that, giving you the kickstart that allows you to vastly increase the capabilities of your workforce in minutes. You can also customize and extend the agents to a specific use case, or if you want, build a whole new one entirely. Now, you don't have to learn new technologies, and you don't have to staff your IT team with new AI developers, because remember, we talked about that no-code, low-code solution. You don't need all that to build on Agentforce.
I love that, Leah. Thank you so much for that. Now, for customers who've already started using Agentforce, what are you hearing about the benefits?
Oh, we're hearing lots of great things. So now, if you attended or streamed Dreamforce, you may have heard of the many amazing customers that are beginning to deploy their Agentforce. Wiley, a global publisher and trusted leader in research and learning, is piloting Agentforce to help customers with dynamic conversational self-service. Now, with Agentforce to handle routine inquiries, human agents have more time to focus on complex cases and helping Wiley increase. Now, get this, Wiley's previous chatbot over 40% of case resolution in the first few weeks.
That's impressive. So they're seeing a 40% increase in case resolution.
40%. That's
amazing.
Big. That's big.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't stop there. There's more, Diane. Check it out. OpenTable is using Agentforce. Here's what they're saying. With Agentforce, we can meet growing global demand while maintaining the exceptional service our customers expect. There's more. Sachs is another customer and says agents are boosting customer support by managing routine tasks, enabling teams to focus on personalized service.
I love that. I love hearing how our customers are finding success with this, especially like right before the holiday shopping season. It's great timing.
Yeah, I mean, Black Friday is right around the corner, right?
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much, Leah. Appreciate the insight. Now, it's time to see Agentforce in action. Let's welcome Director of Product Management, Angela Lee. She's here with a live demo of a customer use case, Unity Environmental University. Angela, what are you going to show us?
All right. Thanks, Diane. Well, I am so excited to show you how Unity is scaling with Agentforce. Unity is a trailblazer and one of the fastest growing higher education institutions in the world. In the last 5 years, they've grown enrollment from 500 to over 10,000 students, all in support of their mission of providing world-class education based in the environment and sustainability sciences. They've accomplished this growth by modernizing their educational offering and their technology using Salesforce. So let's see how this Agentforce agent works. So first, they've been growing and scaling their educational technology with Agentforce, and we're going to go ahead and ask a question about what program is good for me. If I'm a high school student, John, who's looking to take the next step in their educational journey. And with this new agent, they're going to say, look at ways that this student can go ahead and look at the program that might be a really good fit for them. So for this, it's going to be engineering. But it doesn't only do that, it asks whether this might be a good fit for them and do they want to hear about more programs. And now if I'm John, I usually would have spent hours looking through the website, maybe even waiting for a response by looking for someone to give me more information. And instead, the agent's going to ask if I want to attend a virtual information session. And that sounds great. Instead of combing through the website and maybe emailing someone, I actually can get this information right from this Agentforce agent. And what this is actually doing is going through our CRM system and looking at our scheduling. And just look, John asked in a very natural language, what do you have next month? And they were able to come back with the response that shows dates and times that John can attend this information session. And then, not only that, we can go and say, and book the session right away. So as Adam and Diane and Leah have said, this agent can actually take action for you. So just by simply saying, I want to go on the 11th and giving an email, I'm now able to book that information session. But there's more. Instead of John kind of going through this information session and maybe losing interest, this agent is actually going to just follow up immediately and ask, would you actually just like to start an application? We already have some information for you. So John's really excited. He's like, oh yeah, how do I apply? How do I get this started? And so with just a few information points and clarifying questions, the agent is also able to say, okay, let's get your application started. So what's your start date? And once you give us some of this information, we can get this application started for you. So once I tell the agent, I have a high school degree, I'd like to start next month, instead of letting this opportunity lapse where the student might look elsewhere, Unity is able to continue this journey and say, okay, we actually got this application started for you. And as a student, this is going to probably provide a lot of relief because that's one less thing I have to do when thinking about college applications. So now I already have a link that's emailed to me and I can already get started. So this is one way an Agentforce agent can help students who are interested in Unity to get started on their high school application. But we know that there are lots of different types of students who might be interested. So let's add a new instruction into our agent to make sure that we're not overwhelming students with all this information. So John, he was a high school student, but we know that there's lots of different types of students who might come to this website. So what we're going to do here we are in our agent builder. And agent builder is where you can build, customize, and change your agent to build in what the new rules that you might have for your organization. And here we have some topics. So topics are the jobs to be done or the topics of conversation that you want your agent to be able to have. And here's what we're going to do. So each topic has the descriptions and scopes, but really important are the instructions. So these are the guardrails that we have in place for our agents to make sure they're not doing anything that we don't want them to do. So one thing we're going to do is to add an instruction. First, we're going to deactivate, but add an instruction here that asks for admission requirements. Ask the person, oops, sorry. All right, to always ask the prospect whether they are a high school graduate, a transfer student, a homeschool applicant, so that we can really tailor the agent can really tailor their response to the person who is coming to the website. All right, so let's save that and let's get it started and see how this new, test this new instruction that we have, which is, what are those admissions requirements? And first thing we want to make sure we have is that it's selecting the right topic, which is admissions requirements. And then, as you see here, went through the Atlas reasoning engine. It's reasoning through, okay, this is a person who's asking for what are the requirements in order to apply to the university. And then we had that instruction. Please ask them whether or not they're a transfer or homeschool applicant and get some more information so we can provide them with the right response. And that's exactly what the agent does here. And then finally, I'm going to say, actually, I was homeschooled. So then in this response, we're going to, again, hit the right topic, but now it can give us a more tailored response to the user that is just specific for homeschool applicants and the requirements there. And so that is how Agentforce works, by helping create autonomous AI agents and deploying them across multiple channels to answer specific questions, take action, and respect specific instructions and drive customer success by reliably doing the jobs they're assigned. And with data, AI, and agents, Unity is able to expand educational access, improving student and administrative satisfaction, and attracting diverse learners from all around the world.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you so much. Yeah,
as a parent with twins applying to college,
oh,
I'm like,
me too. I'm like, I need this. Sounds fantastic.
Like,
we need it like right now.
Exactly.
Anybody with kids going through the application process is seeing the value of this.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right. Well, if you've got any questions about that demo, go ahead and pop them into the chat. Angela's going to stick around and answer them. So just enter them on the chat on Salesforce Plus. Now, next up, we have another great customer story, the Adecco Group. They're one of the world's largest recruiting companies. 300 million people reach out to them every year. So earlier, I spoke with their SVP of Global Operations and AI, Greg Shoemaker, about their vision to deploy Agentforce to handle that volume at the level of quality they are committed to. Take a look. Greg, thanks for joining us. Tell us about the Adecco Group's company mission and how Agentforce is going to change the way you do business.
The Adecco Group's mission is to make the future work for everyone. And we think that Agentforce is going to help us do a few things. First of all, respond within 24 hours to every single order that we receive. Second of all, engage with 100% of the candidates that reach out to us today. And third, and probably most important, is to put those two things together and find the very best job for the very best candidate, putting those two things together magically.
That is very impressive. 100% response within 24 hours. How are agents going to improve the Adecco customer experience?
I think today customers, they need talent and they need talent fast, right? They have a business to run and they're trying to accomplish things. And oftentimes the recruitment process can be quite painful for not only candidates, but for the customer as well. So what we think is by being more efficient, getting recruiters to do what they do best, which is getting on the phone and talking to people, and leaving a lot of the administrative tasks to agents and Agentforce, we think that our customers are going to have a much better experience overall, getting talent faster and getting higher quality talent.
Yeah, now let's talk about, from the recruiter's perspective, with this kind of help, how are their lives going to improve? What kind of effects can they expect to see?
What we're hoping for with Agentforce is that recruiters get to do a lot more of what they love, which is talking to people, and a lot less of what they hate, which is dealing with massive amounts of information. And so if Agentforce can do a lot of those administrative tasks, going through resumes, posting jobs, arranging interviews, et cetera, then the recruiter gets to be on the phone talking to real candidates, talking about what their interests are, what motivates them, and putting them into the right position. So we think for us, this is a super big game changer when it comes to the recruitment process.
Yeah, allowing them to really play to their strengths. So we all know that Agentforce is built on the Salesforce platform. Why is it so important to implement agents that are powered by Salesforce?
Well, today, all of our talent demand information sits in Salesforce today in our front office. Also, all of our talent supply information sits in there as well. So for an agent within Agentforce to be able to scan those environments and say, okay, this is the job opening we currently have. Here's the talent pool that's available. To be able to formulate a plan to say, okay, here's who maybe is most qualified. Here's who's available. Here's who we should interview. Doing that so fast and being able to put that sort of in front of a recruiter in real time, essentially to say, here are the 3 people you need to call because we think that's the best, these are the best short list candidates for the particular job. All that information resides in Salesforce. So we think it's super efficient and super effective. And again, it's a game changer for us. One of the things that just sort of keeps me up at night is that we have 300 million candidates reach out to us every year applying for jobs. And there's no way that we can get back to all of them. We couldn't hire enough people to get back to all of them. And of course, the ATS systems that we have today in the entire industry, oftentimes their resumes will get sort of filtered and discarded before a human being ever gets to see them. With Agentforce, what we believe is that every single one of those candidates can be engaged with. That doesn't mean they're going to get a job. That doesn't mean they'll get an interview, but they're going to be heard. And that's the most important thing. And the number one feedback item that we hear all the time is, I hear nothing when I apply for a job. If we can solve that problem for us, then it aligns with our mission of making the future work for everyone.
I love that, Greg. Thank you so much. Sounds like some great improvements coming for recruiters and for job seekers out there. Thank you so much for being a customer.
Thank you for having me.
Our thanks to Adecco. We love hearing how customers are finding success with our products. Now, speaking of success, we're joined by another colleague at the table, Emily Winslow, Director of AI Digital Success. Emily, you're here to show us how Salesforce is using Agentforce, right?
That's right. This year, our customer success team became customer zero as the first enterprise company to deploy Agentforce Service Agent. Like all of you, Salesforce is looking to augment its workforce and leverage the power of AI. When Salesforce customers need assistance, they go to Salesforce Help. It has 60 million visits a year. Customers might be looking for release notes, maybe they have a question about a feature, or they're trying to resolve an issue. Enter Agent Astro, the first autonomous AI agent we built on the platform. Agent Astro makes it easier and more intuitive for customers to find answers. You don't have to search through all the content, or worse, get transferred around a call center. And the experience is grounded in our trusted data powered by Data Cloud. Since Agent Astro went live just a few weeks ago, we've already seen a 2-time increase in our customer self-help success, which means Agent Astro solves 2 times more customer issues than our previous chatbots. Pretty cool, huh? Now, let's see this in action. All right, here we are on our help site, which we know receives over 60 million visits annually from customers looking for answers. Now, they can sort through our over 750,000 articles of content across 17 languages, but we hear consistently that finding the right answer quickly is hard. Enter Agent Astro, our first autonomous AI agent here to help 24/7. Now, our customer, Rachel, is having an issue while trying to build a report, and she turns to Agent Astro for help. Now, behind the scenes, Agent Astro goes to work leveraging our first action, the knowledge action, which is powered by Agentforce and Data Cloud together. Here, Agent Astro is making sense of that wealth of content that help has to find an intuitive response for Rachel, and here we go. Now we can see that Rachel is able to both learn about the errors she's seen and provided possible solutions. But let's say Rachel's encountered this error before, and she actually wants to find a long-term solution. So she might have a question about how much this would cost to increase. Now, Agent Astro could answer this question, but our team has actually put in guardrails around topics like pricing or legal questions where we really want a human at Salesforce to answer that question. So instead, Agent Astro is going to lean on those guardrails and suggest another next step. Now, here we have 2 available actions for Agent Astro to leverage. We could create a case from the context of the conversation with Rachel, or in Rachel's case, she's in a hurry. She's got to get this report done today, and I think we've all been there. So Agent Astro understands the urgency and offers the next best action, which is transfer to live chat. This is going to allow a support engineer to come in and assist Rachel right away. Now, we do build in confirmation here, where we want to make sure, yes, indeed, Rachel wants to talk to a support engineer. And this keeps Rachel in the driver's seat. Now, at this point, Agent Astro is going to leverage that live chat transfer action and provide a summary of the conversation up to this point and hand it off to the incoming support engineer, Krishna. Now, because I'm demoing this in production, Krishna is a colleague of ours, and we're going to go ahead and let them know that this is indeed a demo, and there's really no need for them to follow up on Rachel's issue. But we are very grateful for them being a good sport. Now, at this point, I'll go ahead and end the conversation, and I do promise to give Krishna a 5-star review. You've seen Agent Astro now in action, and this is something, even since the few weeks it's been live, we've seen made a 2-time increase in customer self-help success, which is truly incredible.
Fantastic, right?
I love being customer zero. It's so important. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Agent Astro has been on the job for a few weeks now, but this is just the beginning, right?
That's right. It's just the beginning for us. Soon, Agent Astro will be able to do more complex troubleshooting or potentially just build that custom report for Rachel. Really the dream state. We are growing our agent force this coming year with 5 additional AI agents. The first up is bringing Agent Astro's expertise to the Trailblazers learning on Trailhead. And I know I'm super excited for this one.
I can't wait to interact with Agent Astro on Trailhead, right?
That's going to be amazing.
That's going to be a game changer. All right. Well, if you have any questions for Emily or about Agent Astro, just post them in the chat on Salesforce Plus, and she's going to stick around to answer them. All right. We have one more announcement, and it's a big one. Leah, can you share?
Oh, okay. I love this one. So today we're announcing, drum roll, the Agent Blazer community.
So what is an Agent Blazer?
Well, you're an Agent Blazer. You're an Agent Blazer. Everybody's an Agent Blazer. An Agent Blazer is anyone who wants to learn about AI agents, get hands-on with the technology, and connect with our product experts to grow their career and reshape the future of their organizations. The Agent Blazer community makes it easy for you to learn how to build agents and introduce them to everyone. We want everyone to join. So whether you're an executive, an IT business leader, practitioner, an architect, a partner, a parent, or even a tech influencer, we want you to become an Agent Blazer. I actually got to meet up with 5 of our newest Agent Blazers and hear what they're most excited about. So let's check it out.
Agent Blazer. Yeah! Now tell me what use cases you can see for this amazing innovation.
Yeah, so my nonprofit has only one customer service person. And so we're looking at this to basically scale her operation so that she's able to focus on more of the strategic things and have the agent focus on more of the day-to-day things that are really taxing for her.
Nice.
We're going to give her some of her time back.
So lightening her load.
Completely, yeah.
And allowing her to be more strategic in other places.
Yeah. And in her words, I think she wants to sort of be like the queen bee with all of her little drone workers. So,
queen bee, I like that.
Working on.
All right, awesome.
As a Salesforce partner, we deal with a lot of clients who are using life sciences cloud and medical devices. And so to be able to have an agent to answer their questions about how to use it, parts, return, defects, we could really scale up with that.
Now, would that be on a channel externally on a website or internally? Or?
Externally,
okay.
Is what I would think.
Okay, yeah. Nice. Well, I see the wheels turning, all this innovation happening.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, Agent Blazer!
Oh, they look so excited. This is
so fun.
This is very exciting. All right, well, do you want to be an Agent Blazer? We've made it easy for you. All you have to do is scan the QR code on screen to join or go to sforce.co/Agentforce community. You'll connect with experts and practitioners from around the world to accelerate your journey with AI agents. And if you're ready to get started building your first agent, go ahead and scan that QR code. The first 1,000 Trailblazers to complete the quest best are eligible to receive an exclusive Agentforce t-shirt. That's going to be a hot commodity, I think. And you can also sign up at sforce.co/builtwithagentforce. We've covered a lot of ground today, and we can't wait for you to start building your own agents and exploring what Agentforce can do for your business. But before we go, let's talk about the biggest takeaways from today. Let's start with you, Adam.
Well, I think the big takeaway is Agentforce is real. It's easy to deploy. We've heard from customer stories in terms of the effect, and starting today with the general availability and the Agent Trailblazers, you can get started right now. So whether that's competing for those awesome T-shirts, I want one of those, by the way, or if that's going into your organization and going to your account and adding Agentforce right now to get started, you can start building a service agent today, right now. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway. Right after this, you can get started.
It's here. All right, Leah, what about you?
There's so many. Where do you begin? But I think for me, some of the things that come to mind is, once again, there is no other platform like ours, right? We start with that low code, no code to bring everybody along. So I encourage everybody, don't lean out, lean in. Get out there and build an agent today and join the Agent Blazer community, because, my friends, this is not a moment. This is a movement you want to be a part of.
I love that. Leah, Adam, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for joining us for today's event, Discover Agentforce, What AI Was Meant to Be. We'd love to hear what you think. So scan the QR code on screen to take a short survey. It doesn't take long, I promise. Your feedback, it really matters to us. It makes our products and our events better. So scan that code and fill it out. We'd really love to hear your thoughts. And if you're ready to start your Agentforce journey, check out Agentforce Activator. You can get your hands on it now through Salesforce Professional Services. You'll connect with Salesforce experts and certified partners that work directly with Agentforce's developers to build agents tailored to your specific business needs. And if you want to take your Agentforce learning even further, join other trailblazers at an Agentforce World Tour near you. You can meet with Salesforce experts in hands-on trainings and dive deep into the AI innovation that delivers results 24/7. Just takes one day, and it's all for free. All right, well, it is workshop time, so stay where you are to learn how to build your first agent in just a moment.